There's been many high schools and colleges that have gone ahead and shut down fall sports altogether. I'm sure most of you are aware that a lot of these coaches weren't happy with the decisions that were made. I want to be perfectly clear because many of you may get offended with what I'm about to say because your comments are going to come from you speaking from a place of emotion without thinking it all the way through. Welcome back to Tomorrow's Leader Sports Network with your host, Coach Walker. I got to give a round of applause to Coach Lamar over at Tucker High School. This is a coach that decided to go against the grain and speak his truth when it comes down to whether or not the student athletes should be playing sports this fall or if they just need to go ahead and push the football season back to the spring. I'm going to give you my overall thoughts on his interview that he did with Fox 5. I will have the link below in the description of the actual interview that he did earlier this week. Coach Lamar made some valid points as far as keeping safety first when it comes to dealing with the student athletes playing football for this upcoming season. And we already know that the number of cases have continued to rise throughout, not only just here in Georgia, but also around the country. Everybody wants to go ahead and say, hey, look, let's play football. But the student athletes aren't being required to be in school every day. That doesn't really make much sense to me because now we have to count more so on the parents making sure that they get the student athletes to practice every day, as well as making sure that the student athletes are doing all of the necessary things they need to do once school starts back up. And I believe it's going to start back up virtually. They're getting their work done accordingly. But what bothers me the most is a lot of these high schools actually have been practicing since March when the pandemic had really hit, and they gave us clear instructions that everything should be shut down. A lot of the high schools around, in neighboring areas were continuing to practice, regardless of the fact of what all was going on. And, when you sit back and you look at it now, yes, GHSA is making sure everyone goes through, have them going through different phases. Right now, the school that Coach Lamar coaches at is Tucker High School. They're just getting out of phase one, which, they had the kids coming out, working out every day and, just keeping them active. A lot of times you have these student athletes, their minds tend to wander because there's nothing really for them to do. But again, guys, my point of emphasis of all of this is, for starters, when you look at everything that's going on, yes, we have student athletes now that are out there practicing. Let's just say someone actually catches the COVID virus. That means the team has to shut down for 2 weeks. Another thing that a lot of people don't understand is the cost of getting these student athletes tested every day. If many of you don't know, or maybe you do, it costs anywhere from $100 to $150 per player to get tested. Now, just imagine if they were doing this on a daily basis. We already know that's not going to happen, correct? Parents, are you taking your kids out to get tested to make sure that they have not contracted the COVID virus? I'm sure many of you haven't. I mean, guys, I'm just speaking what's real. We can sit back all day long and make criticisms about what this coach is saying to the masses. But guys, at some point in time, someone has to stand up and take the lead. And he decided to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. I've seen a lot of comments where people have said, hey, why doesn't he just go ahead and sit out for the season? Guys, think about this. If Coach Lamar decided to take his Tucker football team and say, hey, guys, we're going to sit out for the season, guess what? That means that program is going to get flushed in the toilet. That's almost like many of colleges that have had it happen to them in the past where they got caught doing something illegal, like the death sentence. So does it make sense for a coach to go ahead and put his own program, give his own program the death sentence? I don't think that makes sense. But for him to speak his truth, to say that he doesn't agree with what's going on and how things are being handled, there's nothing wrong with that, guys. Matter of fact, he dropped the mic on everybody on that one. Really, he did. Because guess what? As we sit back and look at everything that occur on a daily basis, where is our leadership? Heck, right here in the state of Georgia, you have the governor wanting to sue the mayor of Atlanta because she spoke up saying that, hey, guys, we need to put some masks on to protect ourselves. Parents, how many of you out there are actually protecting yourself as well as your kids? Is it really happening? Guys, at some point in time, somebody got to step up and say, hey, listen, these are the things that we need to do. Instead of, well, I haven't contracted it. It doesn't, it's not affecting me. It's not affecting my family. Do you really know? If you haven't been tested, you can't really make that kind of statement. Guys, I have been tested. Just before any of you sit back and say, man, you're doing a whole bunch of talking. Have you been tested? Yes, I have. And guess what? That test ain't nothing to play with. Trust me. You sit still and allow somebody to shove a daggone swab up your nose about this daggone long where it touched the back of your head. You tell me how you feel afterwards. There's nothing wrong with this coach standing up for these players. Nothing. Guys, there's going to be a lot of student athletes out here that may have thought they were going to get scholarships and may not receive those scholarships, not necessarily saying because they didn't play this season. Matter of fact, some of these colleges and universities are going to be looking at other student athletes that they want to bring into their program in which your son or daughter, whomever, may not fit their system. You have to understand it. And guess what? Your son or daughter may have to walk on wherever it is that they choose to go play. Whatever college or university they decide they want to go play at, they may have to they may have to walk on. So understand that. Make sure that is something that you understand clearly as far as what's going on. Because what's killing me the most about all of this, and he mentioned this too, about how you have a lot of the kids, like 70% of the kids out here saying, hey, I want to go back to school. Well, guys, let me ask you a question. Do you know if these schools have been cleaned out since your child left that middle school, high school, or elementary school back in March? Do you even know? Have you even asked these questions? Have you stepped up to ask the questions to the leaders of those schools? Guys, that's something we need to take into consideration also. Because guess what? All those places need to be scrubbed down and cleaned thoroughly. And guess what? A lot of these daggone counties, they have the money to do it, but they're not going to spend the money to make sure that it's done properly. But you guys want to see football out on the field. Here's one for you. I'm willing to bet how many of you out there, if your child ends up with this COVID virus, how quick will you be to run out there to want to go sue somebody? Yeah. How quick are you ready to go ahead and drop a lawsuit on somebody? Not only the coach, the coaches, the school, the principal, the county, and I'm sure you're going to drop it on GHSA as well. So let's be honest with one another, guys. It's time for parents to be parents. I'm sorry. My son wanted to get out here and rip and run while all of this was going on. Matter of fact, both of my boys wanted to get out here and rip and run while all of this was going on. And I said, no, it's not going to happen. You're going to sit your behind down and we're going to see what exactly is going on here and we will move accordingly. Parents, it's time for parents to stand up and be what you are. You chose to have kids. You are the parent. Be the parent, guys. Be the parent. Yes, I know I might sound a little stern and I'm coming a little hard at you. I'm sorry if you feel that way, but I'm just trying to drive home the point that we have to understand what's going on. Everybody wants to lay blame at somebody else's feet. And trust me, I'm sure Coach Lamar is not the only coach out here that is speaking up. Guys, if you haven't been paying attention, there's been coaches that have come up positive. There's been players that's come up positive, not only in the metro area, all around the daggone state of Georgia. So at one point in time, are you going to sit back and say, wait a minute, hold on. Let me grab my child. Let me sit down and talk to my child and get my child to understand what's going on, and we'll move accordingly. That goes back to one of the topics that I spoke about before, decisions. We have to make the right decisions for our student athletes, and student athletes have to make the right decisions for themselves. Sometimes the decision that student athletes want to make, the parent has to step in and say, I'm sorry, we can't do that. We're going to go about this a different way. Because think about it. I'm seeing right now, you got folks out there practicing and playing games on a youth level. Youth sit back and look at the high school level based on the rules as far as things that are not listed in their league rules. They go back and say, oh, with Georgia high school, they allow this because it's stated in those rules. Oh, we'll follow Georgia high school rules since it's not in our rules. So Georgia High School, GHSA, we're looking at you. Where's the leadership to step up and make sure that you keep these kids safe out here? That's what it's all about. Enjoy the game. Understand there's a lot of counties that's making money off of the gate to go ahead and feed the schools or feed their programs. I get that part, but guess what? How much is a child's life worth to you? I just have that question to ask. But I mean, guys, we have to be honest with that. We have to be honest with ourselves. Because like I said again, people are so quick to drop lawsuits on someone because something didn't go the way they expected it to. So again, how are you protecting the coaches, the schools, the counties? How is everyone being protected? GHSA, you're putting everyone in harm's way. Tell me what's the plan if some kid falls out here in this field and they're not able to get the necessary care that's needed so that they can be revived and brought back whole after this situation, after this type of situation occurs with them. After being tested positive, how are they made whole after that? Because them parents are going to come after everybody. Not just the coach. They're coming after you too. Coach Lamar, I salute you, my brother. I'm glad for once somebody stood up and said, hey, we need to really consider what's going on. Because guess what? A lot of the colleges, some colleges, I'm sure, going to move their seasons to the spring. What's wrong with that? I mean, yes, there's no guarantee that a student could come down with the virus in the spring. There's not. But guys, we're running this thing by the seat of our daggone pants. And at some point in time in life, you have to be willing to say, hey, wait a minute. Let's think this through. I want to tip my hat to Coach Lamar. Salute you, Coach Lamar of Tucker High School. If you like the content, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Follow us on social media. The descriptions are listed below. Remember, be that one, and lead.